Ravens flock. The flock rundown is the place to be. My man Ryan has been a lifelong Ravens fan since he was born. So I'm telling you now, it's about to go down. The podcast, the flock rundown. Ravens, baby. Nothing gets better than waking up and wondering how high we can fly. Tune in.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.
Appreciate you, Ray. What's up, Ravens fans? My name is Ryan, and welcome back to another episode of the Flock Rundown. The stage is set. Ravens, Chiefs, Thursday night, September 5th, NFL season opener. That's a banger of a game. I'm happy that this is the first game. Obviously, we were playing the Chiefs anyway this season, and we knew it was in Kansas City, so why not week one? You know, let's get it out of the way. I highly doubt the Ravens are only going to run 6 times like they did in the AFC Championship, because now they are adding Derrick Henry to the equation, and this game will probably be our first real live action game look from Derrick Henry. Maybe he gets a couple carries in the preseason, but the trend over the last few years is starters have been playing less and less and less in the preseason, especially veteran starters who really just don't need game experience. Obviously, Derrick Henry is new to this offense, is new to this team, so they might get him some action in the preseason, but we're not going to see a lot of Derrick Henry until week one. This Ravens-Chiefs game is going to be our real first dose of Derrick Henry in a Baltimore Ravens uniform, and that is exciting, man. I'm so hyped for this matchup. We get to watch the Ravens play as soon as possible because they are the kickoff game for the NFL season, and then on Sunday we get to kind of chill and just watch the rest of the league and not have to stress out or anything. You know, I always enjoy those Sundays. I like when the Ravens play on a different day, and then you get to kind of just, if you play fantasy football, you understand this. You get to throw on Red Zone and just chill and just kind of, you know, watch the broad landscape of the NFL instead of sitting there play by play biting your fingernails about the Ravens. And this is a good spot for Baltimore because if they beat the Chiefs in week one, you start the season as strong as possible. You've gotten one of your hardest matchups out of the way on the road. You're 1-0 to start the season. Can really build a lot of confidence moving forward. But on the flip side, if you do lose the game, it's week one, you know? And the same for the Chiefs. I'm not trying to say that the Ravens are in a better spot or anything. Whoever loses week one, their season's not over, you know? So while I'll still be stressing and still in the game and obviously still really rooting for the Ravens to win, if they did happen to lose, yeah, you're going to hear all the Ravens still can't beat the Chiefs, blah, 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 blah. But you're only 1-0. You have an entire season to correct course and probably see Kansas City again in the playoffs when that matchup is the one that really matters. So I just think this is a fun, exciting game. Obviously, I want to win. I think the Ravens will win, especially adding Derrick Henry to that equation. But it's not a huge deal either way. You know what I mean? Week one never really has that much pressure on it. And I think that's a beautiful thing because then we can just really enjoy the game. And there's quite a bit of storylines to follow in this game. Not only is it Lamar Jackson versus Patrick Mahomes, obviously 2 superstars of the NFL, but the Chiefs this offseason have revamped their wide receiver core and also had some wide receiver troubles. So I'm guessing they're not going to be with Rashee Rice. And then they added Hollywood Brown, which is obviously a really interesting storyline because Hollywood was drafted by the Ravens and played for us for many years and then was traded to Arizona, didn't really work out there, was a free agent this offseason, and signed with the Chiefs on a 1-year prove-it type deal. So that'll be exciting to go against Hollywood Brown on the Chiefs, get a taste of what that looks like. And the Chiefs got a ton of speed at receiver now because in the first round, they just drafted Xavier Worthy from Texas. But the Ravens, a few picks after, countered with Nate Wiggins from Clemson, cornerback, and they're both 4.2 guys. I know Xavier Worthy's like slightly faster. He broke the record, but they both ran a 4.2. I mean, you understand that that's really fast. So that's another really interesting matchup. I'm not sure if Nate Wiggins is going to be following Xavier Worthy. I don't think that Nate Wiggins has earned that role really, and I don't think that Xavier Worthy is worthy of being followed around by one of your better corners. So I think the Ravens will have a game plan. I don't think that the Chiefs have any receiver that needs to be shadowed the entire game, but it is interesting to talk about. I'm sure that they'll get a few matchups where Wiggins and Worthy are matched up against each other, and that'll be exciting to watch too. 2 first-round, really fast rookies going at it on the NFL opener. And then staying on the topic of defense, the Ravens are going to get a taste of what life is like without Mike Macdonald, defensive coordinator who left for the head coaching job in Seattle, and now we have ushered in Zach Orr as the new defensive coordinator of the Ravens defense. And what better test right out the gates than Patrick Mahomes and the defending Super Bowl champion? So I think this will be a big test for Zach Orr. Once again, it's not the end of the world if things don't go perfectly in week 1, but I think it's a good opportunity to kind of set the tone. And I don't expect a huge drop-off from Baltimore's defense. I mean, I know the national narrative is, we lost a ton of guys, and we did lose a lot of individual players, but when you really look at what we still have and how full this defense still is, how much they just retooled it through the draft, I don't really see a reason for it to drop off. Patrick Queen's probably our biggest loss, but Trenton Simpson has all the tools in the world to fill that spot. Now, I don't expect him week 1 of his first season being the starter. If he's the starter, I think he'll be the starter. It's early right now, but I'm projecting him to be the starter. I don't expect week 1. We're not getting peak Trenton Simpson, you know what I mean? It took years for Patrick Queen to even become the player that he is. So it is a drop off a little bit, but you got Roquan Smith leading the middle of the field and leading the linebacker room. I'm not concerned. We got the spine of the defense still there. We re-signed Matabike, Roquan Smith, Kyle Hamilton. The secondary stacked now. Marcus Williams also at safety. Cornerbacks, we got a healthy Marlon Humphrey. Brandon Stevens is back. Nate Wiggins, first-round pick. TJ Tampa. You still got all the depth guys, Pepe Williams and Arthur Mollett and our Darius Washington. I mean, there's a lot of depth there. Our secondary is great. I really just don't see a fall off from defensive play. But week 1, you just never know. You never know what's going to happen in week 1. And I will say this again, the team that is playing in week 1, this Ravens defense and offense that we see in week 1, and the Chiefs defense and offense is not going to look the same as they're going to look towards the end of this regular season or in the playoffs. So week 1, you can take it for what it is. I think it's just exciting that we have such a prime matchup. But I know the Ravens, and I think they're going to come in pissed off from that AFC Championship game, pissed off that they're underdogs again, which they fairly should be underdogs in this game. I think the line's like 2.5 or 3 right now, and that makes sense to me from a betting perspective. But I know the Ravens are going to take that personal. I know the Ravens are going to be ready to play this game. The full schedule drops this Wednesday. I'm not looking at it. I'm going to turn on the camera when it drops and go over the schedule, my first reaction to each game, and kind of give a win-loss prediction, and we'll have that video out Wednesday night, so that'll be something to look forward to. I'm excited to do that. I did that last season when I first started the channel, and I had a lot of fun doing that. I had a lot of fun just kind of not looking over what it is and then reacting genuinely for the first time. I think that that's cool content. And then next week, I will have my first guest on the Flock Rundown. It's not a player, it's another Ravens content creator. You guys can take some guesses as to who that may be, but excited to have a guest. We haven't had a guest on this channel. It's something that I kind of wanted to do this season more often. Last year was the first year of having the Flock Rundown, and I wanted to prove myself and build a community with you guys and just kind of, hit the ground running and not worry about getting a bunch of guests and things like that. But this year, I definitely want to sprinkle in some guests, and next week we're starting to do that, so that's exciting. But let me know what your guys' thoughts are about the Ravens opening the season against the Kansas City Chiefs. Are you happy about it, excited, nervous? Do you wish it was at the end of the year? Drop your thoughts below in the comments. I'm always interested to hear what you guys say. And as always, I appreciate you tuning in to another episode of the Flock Rundown. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim there where the sense can't tame the untamed.